Hey everyone, my name is Daniel and welcome back to the Finance Channel. I hope all of you are having an absolutely phenomenal day out there. As always, here today, I want to talk to you all about 3 growth stocks that have fallen over 50% in just the past couple of months. Now, all of these stocks I personally have been accumulating over the past couple of months, and they're all companies that I really believe in. So if you end up enjoying this video and finding some value in it, please consider subscribing. Without further ado here, let's get into the video. So stock number 1 on the list, AcuityAds. Now, this is a company involved in the digital advertising space, giving a really hands-off experience when it comes to increasing the efficiency of all dollars spent in the advertising game. You give Acuity a certain budget, and they set up an advertising campaign for you. So obviously, they make every dollar go so much further, allowing them to collect a bit of a commission beyond that. But when I look at Acuity, again, normally their business model over the past decade was heavily reliant on actual Acuity ads and on actual business people, salesmen, talking to clients. Now, when we look at Acuity moving forwards, the biggest kind of potential that I see with this company is with Illumin. Now, Illumin is their product that focuses in on more of a Shopify style approach, really hands-off approach, allowing the customers, allowing the small and medium-sized businesses themselves to set up advertising campaigns, making it all very visible, and other things like that. So when I look at Acuity, again, involved in the digital advertising space, but in my opinion, it's more of the Shopify of digital advertising. Now, AcuityAds, this stock peaked back in around February of this year. Again, this is on the NASDAQ at over $26 per share. That was the 52-week high. I first looked at this stock, again, back in January, February. I didn't look at, I didn't like the valuation back then. Since it has dropped, and I've really been accumulating in this range really here, just under $10, a little bit over $10, I have been accumulating in Acuity, and I think it is a phenomenal play moving forwards. Again, this is a company focused in the Canadian market at this point. You know, whether they expand moving forwards, that remains to be seen. But either way, this is a company growing revenues significantly year in and year out. It is, again, a Canadian company, so you don't see revenues in US dollars. But when I look at Acuity here, they have released a new business update just a couple of days ago here, pertaining to, again, their advertising automation platform, Illumin. Now, just one little bit of insight, or rather a piece of insight here before we keep going. Illumin was launched late 2020, so it is a new product for them that has really just had around around 6 months of actual real-world operation. So when we look at Illumin, again, just starting out, and we look at Illumin here, it experienced revenue growth of over 60% quarter over quarter to over $5 million, with further sequential growth expected throughout the second half of 2021. Illumin looks to be a very big success. Here we have a little bit of an update. In Q2 2021, revenue attributable to Illumin increased over 60% versus the first quarter of 2021 to $5.2 million. Demand for the platform continues to be very robust, with strong growth in its sales pipeline. As a result, the company believes Illumin's revenue will experience sequential growth in Q3 of 2021. Illumin revenue and pipeline growth exceeded our internal expectations once again. Great to see this part of their business going very well. We ended the second quarter with 40 Illumin clients, up over 135% versus the first quarter, and we believe this number will continue to increase significantly in the quarters ahead. Our clients tell us they love the ease of use of Illumin, the platform, and the great data-driven insights they can give via their consumer journeys. Once again, the vast majority of Illumin revenues come from clients which are new to the company. So important. It's not consumers transitioning from AcuityAds over to Illumin. It's new customers coming onto the platform, and this is leading to huge year-over-year growth overall. I believe it was $25 million in revenue back in Q2 of 2020. So, this is another 5.2 that gets added on to that for year-over-year growth. And again, I'm really excited to see what happens here moving forwards when it comes to Illumin. But overall, Acuity as a company, I picture it as a smaller, the Trade Desk, if you ever heard of that company, trading at a significantly cheaper valuation on a price to sales ratio basis, very similar growth, and in my opinion, much larger potential compared to where their valuation stands at here today, based on the fact that Acuity is targeting the mass market. So that's my opinion on AcuityAds, holding around 5% as a percentage of my portfolio currently, and I think it has a lot of potential over the long run. Let me know what you think about Acuity in the the comment section down below. Now, next stock on the list here rather is HITI. Now, HITI, this is my play on the cannabis industry. They are one of the only Canadian cannabis companies that are actually profitable on an EBITDA basis. I really like this company here. Again, involved not just in the retail space when it comes to cannabis, but also focused in on e-commerce. Now owning the 3 largest e-commerce cannabis accessory companies out there. They have a strong retail presence within Canada, a very strong online presence, and they continue to expand that into the future. Now, again, HITI fallen significantly since, again, February was when it hit that all-time high, just over $13 per share. This is, again, listed on the NASDAQ. Again, one of the few companies actually listed on the NASDAQ. So, again, looking at HITI as a company here, this is trading significantly cheaper than a majority of cannabis companies on a price-to-sales ratio basis, under 2 from my understanding, using 2021/2022 numbers. But when I look at HITI here, a few updates to go through. Keep in mind, this makes up around 5% of my portfolio, despite the drop we've seen. I did scale in, again, around this, I own it in the Canadian market rather, but around the $8 range, I want to say $8 to $9 range in US dollars. But when we talk about HITI here, a lot has transpired over just the past couple of days. First and foremost, this was a little bit ago, but they finished their acquisition of the Daily High Club. That makes them, again, now the owners of the 3 largest cannabis accessory e-commerce companies out there. Great from that standpoint. HITI to acquire Regina retail portfolio, or rather, sorry, Regina retail portfolio, strengthens presence in Saskatchewan. They did acquire a few locations within Saskatchewan. Again, they don't have that big of a presence within that province, so expanding there is a great opportunity, in my opinion, from a growth standpoint. Then you have the United States actually going out and potentially creating some form of optimism around legalized cannabis on a federal level. Obviously, this would be very big for HITI as a company. They are listed on the NASDAQ, which means they cannot expand into the United States with their retail presence or retail portfolio. Obviously, you have, Canna Cabana, you have Meta Cannabis, etc. They cannot expand their brick and mortar locations into the United States until we get federal legalization. So that would be huge for the company and would open up a huge pathway of growth. Obviously, HITI involved in not just brick and mortar, but also e-commerce, which is what they're focusing in on right now within the United States. It's allowing them to make a significant amount of revenue from the United States, despite not being able to operate there through physical retail presence. But if we do see federal legalization, a great positive for the company. Now, next here, we have HITI and Halo announced closing of sale of Kush Bar assets to Halo. Now, when we talk about this kind of segment of their business, Kush Bar, whatever we call it, this was supposed to be kind of like an educational / Apple Store style of approach when it comes to the cannabis industry, being able to go in, sit down, learn about cannabis. Now, this was a very, very small revenue driver for the business. I'm not even sure if they actually had a location, but again, HITI, they realized there wasn't much potential here, sold it for around $1.8 million. Not the biggest deal in the world. We'll see what happens on the acquisition front moving forwards here. But here today, and this is the last piece of news, HITI went ahead and opened their 20th Ontario cannabis retail store on Ottawa's Rideau Street, whatever the pronunciation is here. But again, expanding into Ontario, that is their current growth, kind of a pathway of growth over the next couple of years here. Ontario, as that is, at least from my understanding, one of the biggest opportunities in cannabis within Canada, and HITI doesn't really have a physical retail presence there as of yet because of constraints when it comes to licenses. They plan on having, again, opening up a significant amount of stores over the next couple of months here within Ontario and then beyond. So a very exciting opportunity here with HITI from a valuation, growth, and execution front. We'll see what happens here moving forwards, but again, I'm invested in this stock. We'll see what happens here moving forward. So next stock on the list, this is the last one, Bigg Digital Assets. Now, this is a company I've been talking about Bigg Digital for the past couple of months, but I never liked the valuation of this company. I do now, but the first time I covered it, again, back in around April, $3 per share, I said, no, great company, but I'm going to wait. So what happened thereafter, significantly overvalued compared to something like Voyager Digital. Valuation came down, fundamentals improved, and I said, all right, Bigg Digital, now I see opportunity. So again, what happened, it kind of flatlined along with the remainder of the cryptocurrency industry. You got to keep in mind, companies like Voyager Digital, Coinbase, Bigg Digital have all fallen significantly and really kind of parallel to each other over the past couple of weeks and months, mainly because of, again, a decrease, or rather significant decrease in trading volume in the cryptocurrency industry, leading to a significant decrease in revenue for these companies month over month over month, comparing again, potentially April to May to June, a significant downtrend. And that's what we saw with Voyager Digital, which reported their numbers just a couple of days ago. But, Bigg Digital, again, the main segment of their business is a cryptocurrency brokerage. So when we look at the company right now, they for sure experienced a significant decline in revenue in June. And again, that's one of the things that is kind of limiting my capability to make an updated valuation case for Bigg, just from the perspective of we have no clue how much volume this platform, or the Netcoins platform, experienced throughout the month of June, and leading me to kind of be in a place where, I like Bigg Digital. I think the fact that they are so small at this point will allow them to kind of make up for this decrease in volume with expansion into places like the United States and Europe longer term. But, talking about Bigg Digital, a lot of FUD here over the short term, over the past couple of weeks, also due to the fact that they did delay their app launch. They were planning to launch their app in the App Store, the Netcoins app, back at the end of June. They've since delayed that. I really do hope it does get launched soon. But again, I started buying this one around $1.10. So no doubt I'm down on the position. This really has been trading mirrored to stocks like Voyager Digital and Coinbase. But I do think if we do see increased optimism and increased trading in the crypto space, we will see a nice rebound in Bigg Digital. So, I'm very positive about this stock, but again, a lot of FUD. You just got to push through it. If you like the company, great buying opportunity, given that it's, again, falling from $4 back in April to now under 80, or right around 80 cents. Again, a significant decline, 75 to 80% drop in just the past couple of months. So we do have a bit of news here. Bigg Digital Assets hiring a provider for investor relations and consulting services. So again, this is really just focusing in on getting Bigg Digital's name out there and increasing the brand recognition and the amount of eyes that there are on Bigg stock. They are paying rather a significant amount for this service, a monthly fee of $8,000. So again, that kind of translates to $96,000 a year in fees for this service, plus 25,000 stock options exercised by the price of $1.40 per share for the next 24 months. So, we'll see what happens here. Mark Abbins, he did explain this a little bit here, but again, it will increase the range of shareholders across multiple different markets and hopefully get the story of Bigg Digital out. But, what's going to get out the story of Bigg Digital? Probably not this. It's going to be execution and increased optimism around the crypto market. Now, before I do finish here, I just want to point to the fact that Voyager Digital on a valuation basis is trading significantly lower than Bigg Digital. But keep in mind, this company is significantly smaller, although they do hold more risk because of that. They do have more upside potential in growth of users percentage-wise. So you do have, again, a more risky but higher potential stock with Bigg Digital. And in my opinion, it does present an interesting alternative. I'm personally more heavily invested in Voyager Digital, well over 30% of my portfolio. And if you want more insight on that, I have many videos I post about Voyager very regularly on this channel. Bigg Digital, a little bit less, but again, I'm still optimistic about this stock. So anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are on any of these stocks and which one you're buying moving forwards. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.